The second installment of this new process we're calling Meet Your Neighbors, Meet Your New Neighbors. And as you know, because of the pandemic, we can't have the room full of people like we normally do, and therefore we can't have singing with the piano at the end. But we are going to meet our new people, and they'll all have a little tag underneath their name tag that'll say that they're newcomers. And if you see them as newcomers in the hallways, we hope you'll stop and say hello and introduce yourselves. So you'll be watching this on film, but we have everything live here in the room.
Just learned that Judith and I have something in common. We're both from New York. Now that is quite unique.
So am I.
And Roger's from New York also. And how you were going to school in Illinois? Is that where it was?
Went to the University of Chicago.
University of
That's
Chicago.
where we met there.
That's a good school.
Yeah, that's how we got from
It was a good school.
from Brooklyn to Chicago. Very good.
And then to Australia, and then to Austin.
Australia. You took a shortcut, didn't you?
A shortcut.
Yeah.
I started to school here in Austin. I grew up here in Austin.
Yeah. Wonderful.
And started to school in the mid-1930s, and it was one thing that I do remember from that. I think I was about 7 years old. I do remember from that first year is that was during the Depression, and the teacher sent notes home with some of us to our parents saying, if you can afford it, send 2 lunches, because some kids did not have a lunch.
Isn't that something? That's quite an experience
Yeah,
to remember
so,
that
yeah.
era.
But then with the start of the Second World War, we moved out south of Oak Hill to a small farm. That's where I basically grew up. And we both went to high school here in Austin. When I finished here, I
Been here all that time. You
went
came
to the
back.
Army for a little while and
Came back.
went
Ernest tells us his family has been here since the days of Stephen F. Austin. Very
Wow.
good. Very good.
Joe, Wilman, and Mary Margaret?
Correct.
Okay. And Joe, you're an electrical engineer.
Yes, that's correct.
I used to teach philosophy to electrical engineers, and that is a real challenge because they always want to memorize something along the way. And you worked in government contracts?
Yes, essentially I worked for the government the whole time.
Uh-huh.
At Applied Research Lab.
And you did things, sonar with submarines?
Well, yes, that's more well known as the submarine guy
Really?
for the U.S. because I measured every submarine that
Really?
the Navy had. We had a big group of people that would go down there with engineers and technicians and go down to wherever they wanted us to go, usually off of the island of Eleuthera.
Yeah, that's great.
Set up there and measure.
Did you have anything to do with the DEW line? The early warning system?
No.
No, okay. And communications, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, very good. All right. And let's see, you've been all over the world at different times, and you're from Brownsville, Texas.
Yes, when we got married, one of the newspapers said, Joseph marries Mary.
Wow.
Joseph.
Wow. Were there any wise men that showed up?
Pull up your hand.
I'm trying to keep something.
Brownsville, all right. Were you in school together?
Yes, but he was in my older sister's class, and
Oh, yeah.
we renewed our friendship when we were here at the university together.
Now, I'm new to Texas, and Brownsville's almost to Mexico, right?
It is, it's as far south as you can go.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, but you came up here later on.
Yes, when I was 16, I came into the university.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But Joe's family is old-time Austin too.
Is that
Not
right?
maybe
Yeah.
as old as the London
Oh,
is, but
wow.
yeah.
The Randolphs.
Okay, and Mary Margaret, what sort of things you worked with kindergarten and preschool?
That's right.
My wife was a principal, so she used to enjoy those kids at that age.
The tiny ones, yes.
Yeah, they're really
They're fun.
great. And you're in the Daughters of the American Revolution
Yes.
in Brownsville, Texas?
No, well, I joined in Brownsville, but I'm a member of a group here in Austin.
Really? So you had someone at the founding of the country?
Yes, and I have an ancestor who died at the Alamo, so
No kidding.
I get to be a daughter of the Texas Revolution too.
All
so.
right, very good. Well,
Bragging.
my wife's, one of my wife's relatives signed the Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
So she could probably be in the Daughters
They
of
might
American.
know each other, have known each
Yeah,
other.
his name was Morris. He signed it in big letters
Yeah.
at the bottom of the Declaration of Independence. All right. And how do you like it here in Austin?
We're doing really well. We've lived here 51 years.
Oh, so you're all right.
We're old Austin,
Yeah.
but we just needed some help, so we came to Westminster.
One of the things I like about Westminster is it's so close to everything. You can really get around very easily here. All right, children, you have children?
We have 3, and they all live here in Austin, and all our grandchildren live here, so we're very well
That's
supported.
fantastic. Yeah. All right, well, welcome. It's good to have
Thank
you
you.
here. And now, Vince?
A lot of traveling.
Well, some.
Tell us about your career in your travels.
Well, my career, like you were with IBM, I was with Xerox.
Okay,
Oh, is that right?
yes.
That's right.
Good.
And I was in Xerox about 15 years. And last 5 was in international operations.
And when you were with Xerox, they were all, the lead men at Xerox were all former IBMers, right?
Exactly, that's right.
I worked with them.
I know.
Yeah, I
And
told you.
we knew many of the same people.
Yes,
Right.
isn't that a small
So
world?
they became refugees to Xerox.
They cultivated a culture.
We did.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's an interesting experience then.
True. And the 5 years I was in Xerox International Operations, and I cover Asia
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
China business development.
Very nice.
So we set up joint ventures in Asia and in China, and we came back here, let's see, 2.5 years ago.
And how long have you been here in Westminster?
Since May,
Since May.
yes.
Good move?
Yes. Well, was unexpected move, but it turned out to be a good one.
Excellent, I'm
Yes.
happy to hear that.
Yes,
And I have a question for you too.
yeah.
You were an executive coach.
Still am.
Well, I was an executive.
Yes.
And I don't know any of my colleagues that you could coach, because that must be a hard job to tell an executive what to do.
No, don't tell executives what to do, they're not coachable.
I totally agree. I totally agree. So what do you do then?
What do? I want to know what you want to do. Well, executives have something to accomplish.
Yeah, right.
And we all have challenges, so I work with them to see what they want to get out of it.
So.
I don't tell them what to do, nobody tells them what to do.
Don't I know that? And so you're a kind of enabler to help them strategize.
Exactly, empowering them to do what they want to do.
Fantastic. All right. Well, good for you. And you're in higher ed.
Was,
Yeah,
yes.
tell us about that.
I was in the administration of the University of Texas system for the last 23 years of my career.
Over the whole system or the?
Yes, we had 15 institutions at that time that we assisted and helped. And I was in the development area and in the endowment area was what I did.
And, you know, when did that start? I ask you that question because I was General Secretary of Higher Ed for the United Methodist System worldwide.
Okay.
And we have 1,000 universities in 80 countries. And all these state universities used to always go to the legislature.
Right.
But then that began to dry up, so they started to do their own development work. And I
Well-
wonder, when did that happen?
Well, the first endowment gift to the University of Texas system was given in 1896.
So way back.
It was a $200 gift from William Jennings Bryan.
No kidding. Is
Right.
that right?
The endowment agreement is written out in hand on the letterhead. It was on the law office of James Hall, who was former governor.
I see.
But they really got into the fundraising business in probably the 60s, state
Yeah,
institutions did.
Because the legislatures had a hard time
Right,
keeping
yeah.
up with the growth.
Yeah, I was at SMU before I came here.
Oh, were you? That's one of
Yeah.
ours. I used
Yeah.
to go to SMU all the time. Who was president when you were there?
Willis Tate,
Oh, is that right?
a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I missed him because I came in '88 to that job. So.
Yeah.
But I was made aware of it because Oxford University in England came over to my office and said, we're gonna start raising money, we just wanna let you know. We're just following up with our graduates. So they came, they're now raising money for development.
Yeah,
And they never used to do that.
I sent an application to one of the colleges at Oxford one time when I was casting about for something better to do. And they did not pay very well, but they did allow their development officers to eat at the high table. That was a big deal.
It's a very big deal.
But it was not to me, so I stayed.
You didn't go to the
I
high
didn't
table?
go to the high table.
Oh, you should do that. That's a great experience.
Yeah.
I worked with one of your presidents of no, he wasn't, of Texas, John, he went to Boston.
Silber, John Silber.
John Silver.
Yeah, he was not a president here, he was a dean.
He was a dean, but he was thinking he might be president.
That's why he went, yeah, and he didn't make it, so that's why
But
he
he
went to Boston.
really shook up Boston. He takes no prisoners.
No, he was-
Very, very
He
interesting.
left before I came, but there were lots of Silver stories.
Yes,
When we came
and
in '71.
I had to adjudicate a controversy with John, and I never, boy, I would say he's very direct.
Yes.
That's how it works. And Patricia, what did you do again now? Information technology?
Yes. I started in IT before it was IT, before when we called it data processing, I think. That was in '61 with the Navy Department with big machines and, big IBM machines and punch cards and.
And that's where you go back to the floppy disks?
Well, we didn't even have floppy disks.
You didn't have floppy disks?
This was in '61, okay, a long time ago.
All
But
right.
anyway, then when I retired, it was all, the last 15 years had been all internet and web development. And so I had a wonderful career, especially for a woman in those days.
So if people are having trouble, they could come to you.
They could. I
That's-
couldn't help them, but they could come to me.
That's fabulous.
I would call Larry.
That's what I do. Oh, my goodness. Well, it's good to have you both here.
Thank you very
And,
much.
where did you start out?
Well, we've been in
Austin.
Austin for 49 years.
Okay.
Not quite as long as you all have been.
Yeah.
But, and both of our children live here and our grandsons, so we're, really blessed in that way.
So you were married 50 years?
55.
Yeah, how's it going?
Oh, some days.
That's touch and go.
I've been married 57, so I know what you
You
mean. Okay, Vince, you're.
Well, Lou, who's not here with me today, it was his nap time this afternoon. He's not very mobile, but he's very happy to be here, and we were in some illustrious company here, Vince.
Oh, you're nice to say that. Thank you for saying that.
I've enjoyed hearing about the other newcomers. We're natives of Chicago, both went to college there, and
South Side, right?
South Side, we're real Chicagoans.
Right.
And then my husband's company, he was in the cement business. Lou was a CPA, and he was the president of finance, CPA for a cement company, which then was bought by a French company, Lafarge Coppet. And so we became part of that. And so that gave us a lot of travel opportunities, many to France, to different parts of Europe. And then Lou was the head of the Canadian division, and so we had a lot of times to go up to Western Canada, Eastern Canada, and we really enjoyed all of that. So we have 4 children, 3 of which permanently live here, and 6 grandchildren who all live here. And then we have 1 son, Paul,
Yes.
who has never married and lives here sometimes and sometimes in London. So,
Whoa, nice life.
yeah, so we are very happy to be here. I'm looking forward to being able to play games, have book club, do all these things. So it'll happen. We just all have to pray for a vaccine. Amen.
And as Audrey said, her husband is resting today, and he's one of the finest gentlemen I've ever met.
Thank
and,
you.
and
He's a lovely man.
Yes, he really is a family man, a professional, and is a neighbor.
And we've been married 60 years. So
Whoa, good for you.
I'm pretty used to him.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
The other good thing about Audrey is she's a nurse. She said that she works out on a machine next to mine.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
gym. So I feel more secure.
Audrey picks Roger up when he falls.
That's it for this segment, and a lot of interesting new residents here. We had an interesting group on Monday, and that kind of catches us up. So I think we won't be doing another one for a little while as people continue to move in until we get a group. But we're glad to be caught up and glad for you to be able to meet all these nice people and
And
find